On live with me now is Miss Alison Bernard, who is the executive director and co-founder of the Breastfeeding and Child Nutrition Foundation. Awesome. Alison, how are you tonight?
I am very well, thank you very much, Celia.
As we prepare for our second iteration of the Women's Wellness Walk on Sunday, June 29th, 3 p.m., the Glebe in St. George. And it's really an opportunity for women and girls to come out under a theme from puberty to pregnancy to perimenopause. It's an afternoon of fun. It's an afternoon of community. It's an afternoon of empowerment. And most of all, we are walking for our health and our overall wellness. So, Alison, before we dive into the topic of you and the BCNF, I have one question for you to just see where you are as it relates to your mindset and your wellness. What's one wellness practice or habit that helps you stay grounded as a woman and a leader?
You started off nice and spicy there, Celia.
Yes.
Um, oh my gosh. I would say in the last couple of years, it's been something really simple. Um, it's a couple of things, but both really simple things. In the last couple of years, I started walking a lot. I have, so which is why when you mentioned Bajan fusions and this walk, I was like, oh, right up my street. Um,
Awesome.
so I whether it's an hour or two after I finish the walk, I feel as though, okay, I can breathe again. There's nothing like it. And I know it sounds simple and anyone can do it, but it really does have an impact, especially when you go out in nature and you experience, you look around. And there's something I was reading recently that when you're walking and you're scanning left to right, you can't be stressed. And I've tried it a million
Mm.
times, and it's no matter how stressed I'm feeling. Once I start looking around and noticing things, my stress just disappears. And then I also do box breathing. Something I taught my daughters when they were doing common entrance,
Yes.
where I take deep breaths in and I pause, and and I find that that really, really does help to de-stress me and help me cope, because this life isn't always that easy for women leaders.
All right. So, to our community, Allison has just given you at least two tips to start with. Go for a walk, go outdoors. Yes. Scan the area, reduce stress. It's really good for your body and your brain, and as well as breathing. There are multiple ways that you can do different types of breathing. So, choose one and really immerse yourself to ground and be more mindful as you go about your day to day. All right, Dr. Bernard. So, for those who may not know you yet, can you share a bit about yourself and what inspired you to start the BCNF, the Breastfeeding and Child Nutrition Foundation?
So really simple. My daughters.
Mm.
So I have two daughters, and I would say with the first, it was a very, very challenging experience. So I'm a pediatrician, and I've been doing pediatrics for years, and I've been telling moms, oh, it's fine, you know, just put the baby on the breast. And now I think back and I'm thinking, oh, girl, you had no idea, none.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, because I was in pediatrics, the expectation was that I would know what to do. No clue. It's not something you get taught in medical school. So I really had challenges. My daughter wasn't putting weight on, and then when I came back to Barbados and I saw mothers had similar challenges to me, and I had ultimately been successful with support. I thought, oh, I want to do this. And so that's where the BCNF kind of was born from my experiences as a mother and with breastfeeding. And I'm wanting to create that environment of support for mothers here in Barbados.
So, how old is the BCNF? When did you start? What month, what year?
So I was talking to one of the previous co-founders, because I'm a co-founder of the BCNF as
Yeah.
well. And We started at Graham Hall Sanctuary, sitting in the, you know, where the cafe is, just sitting there talking, shooting the breeze, thinking, you know, it'd be really great to start this charity and what we're going to do, what we can, writing notes. So that was in 2014, but we didn't officially register as a charity until 2015. So we're 10 years old this year, actually, 10-year
Oh, well,
anniversary. Thank you
congratulations.
very much.
Awesome, awesome. So, what are some of the key goals or programs that BCNF focuses on, and how do they directly support the women and girls here in Barbados?
So the main three pillars of BCNF is support, promote, protect. And it's not just breastfeeding. If you see the name, BCNF is the breastfeeding and child nutrition. So breastfeeding is just one aspect of it. We focus on the first 1,000 days of life, so the first 2 years of a child's life, from conception to year two, and that really is a really vulnerable period for children's nutrition and developing nutritional deficiency. So that's where we focus in. And we just want to support, promote, and protect it. And so we do that through several programs, several activities, whether it's one-on-one consultations, lactation consultations with mothers. We do antenatal classes, what we call our ABC classes. We do peer support training. So there's nothing like having another mother who's been successful at breastfeeding be there for you and supporting you and telling you, you got this, mama. You got this. It's hard as rock, but you got this,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. So, and we also have a WhatsApp chat of over 200 moms who provide this community. You know, you talk a lot about community, and we have this wonderful community of mothers who just are there for each other in every way as it relates to breastfeeding and everything child. So yeah, those are some of the programs that we have.
I like those three. I really like those three pillars: support,
From
promote, and
protect.
protect. So you're looking at the full spectrum of a woman, and you're also saying to them, that's what we want to do. We don't just want to help you with now the baby's born, but we want to make sure that you have the tools and the resources and the community to help you along the way. Fantastic. So our theme is from puberty to pregnancy to perimenopause and beyond. How does the BCNF fit into the life cycle of wellness for women and girls?
So I mean that I mean you talk about life cycle, we fit perfectly in there because yes, we start with early childhood and early childhood nutrition, but then we take that child with that optimal nutrition or optimized nutrition through puberty and adolescence to the entire life course. Because if you have a healthy mother, guess what? They spawn, forgive the word, you know, the next healthy
Yeah,
generation. So we fit perfectly in there, which is why when you mentioned that your catchphrase or slogan from puberty to pregnancy, perimenopause and beyond, we thought, yeah, definitely this is a great walk to be on.
right. And I'm sure as women come out to the walk on June 29th, 3 p.m., the Glebe St. George, they'll get to learn more because you're going to be set up.
Yeah.
We're going to have some tables, so you're going to be set up and you're going to be showing more and sharing more with our audience. So if you are on live right now and you have not registered for the Women's Wellness Walk, encouraging
Please.
you to do this ASAP, right? So the deadline is this Saturday, June 14th, 11:59 p.m. And the reason why we have a deadline is because we want to get you the t-shirts. So right now I'm wearing a branded t-shirt. This is from the previous walk in March. Yes, this is the previous walk. And we want to make sure that we can get the shirts and get them printed and get them back to you so you can wash them and be ready for June 29th. Awesome. So, what are some of the common misconceptions or overlooked truths when it comes to breastfeeding and early child nutrition that you wish more people knew?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Mm,
I would say one of the things that I hear a lot in the consultations with many mums is breastfeeding is supposed to hurt. It's not. It's not
mm,
supposed to hurt. Um, breastfeeding is about latch and position, and if that baby's latched on well, it doesn't hurt. I mean, as I say to all the moms, you're not used to having something hanging off your boob 24/7, so there's gonna be a little, but
Yeah.
but once the baby's latched on well, it doesn't hurt. Another thing is, I know we're in the tropics, but before 6 months, your baby doesn't need any extra water. You don't need
Say
any
that
extra
again.
water.
Say that again. Before six
six
months,
months of
your
age,
mm-hmm.
your baby does not need any extra water apart from what they're getting in the breast milk. And say you're giving formula, most of formula is water.
Mm-hmm.
And then breast milk is 85 to 90% water. So no added water is required at all. And the last one, I hear a lot, breastfeeding makes your breast sag. They don't. It doesn't. Please stop demonizing the breastfeeding. Please. Right?
So what do you think it is besides breastfeeding that women are saying that?
It is age. And
Mm-hmm.
because, as I say, you don't see any 8-year-olds, whether they're breastfed or not, with upstanding breasts. And
Mm-hmm.
also, and also, as you get as you get pregnant and you put lots of weight on and you lose weight and you put on weight again and you lose weight, you lose the elasticity in those tendons, those ligaments that help to keep the breast up. So it's not breastfeeding dragging your breast down, as I hear a lot. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that. Just wanted to
Awesome.
get that out there.
So let's see in who's on live with us. Just drop in the comments if you are a mother and if you were one of those persons that believe any of those three myths, or this is something new that you're hearing today. So let us know in the comments as well. So another question I have is, how can the community, especially the women who are tuning in tonight, so the ladies who are on live getting the gems from you tonight, how can they get involved in supporting the BCNF? Or what are some of the benefits from the BCNF? What resources are available to them if they decided they wanted to join BCNF?
So we would love to be contacted. We really feel like there's so many more mothers out there who need our support. Oftentimes, mothers will come to us when the baby's born. And if you can imagine, your hormones are all over the place. You brought this new being into the relationship between you and your partner. It's just chaos. Even if it doesn't look like chaos on the outside, chaos internally. Oh my goodness! So
Mm-hmm.
you you absolutely need to have the support. You have to have the education about breastfeeding beforehand. You don't want to wait till as you've had your baby to now be thinking, oh shoot, I gotta feed them. As I say to moms, you cook them for 9 months, and then your only job, or in your mind, your only job is to protect them and feed them and keep them safe, right? And a lot of moms automatically assume that they can't do that because of all the messaging that they get from outside. I won't be able to breastfeed my baby. And it's extremely emotionally and psychologically challenging for mothers. So the best way you can arm yourself and protect yourself from those intense, overwhelming feelings is educating yourself beforehand. Don't wait till as you've had the baby. And then once you've had the baby with that information and oh gosh, this thing is supposed to hurt and this thing is really hurting, then I gotta reach out. Don't wait till 2 weeks or a month later when a lot of damage has been done,
Yes.
and you're thinking, I'm not going to breastfeed anymore. That's a lot of the reason why women stop breastfeeding, is because it can be so painful.
Painful.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be. Yeah.
I have a question, and again, some mothers may think of it differently, but how long should a woman breastfeed? Is it a year, 2 years? Because I can tell you, I had a cousin, her son was like 3 years in, and it was a laughing matter between them two. And even when he became I don't know, 5, 6, 7, he would joke with his mom, but for her and him, that was a real true connection. But how
Yeah.
long is the length of breastfeeding usually?
So World Health Organization says exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, which means no formula, no water, no food. The only thing you're allowed to pass over that baby's lips is vitamin drops, or if they need oral rehydration salts if they have gastroenteritis. And after that, you continue breastfeeding to a minimum
Minimum.
of 2 years,
Well,
of 2 years, right? So I had a consultant back in the UK who breastfed for 5 years. Her child was on the boob for 5 years, and,
well,
and wasn't looking like they were coming off anytime soon. But to be fair, internationally, the average is 4.5. Is really here in the Caribbean where, if you can get to a year, you are doing great. But most of our moms don't get to a year. Here in
yes.
Barbados, average is like 8 months that they get to before they stop breastfeeding. Remember, breastfeeding is not just boobs and mouths, it's the environment that you're breastfeeding in. So you need your support system, you need promotion of it, but you need advocacy for it as well. You need policy around it. So if you don't have an environment that says you can take the time to breastfeed your child, then most women don't think it's possible, and they're
Possible.
like, you know what, why are you go through all this trauma
Mhm.
when I still got to put the child on formula anyway, and I got to be back out to work in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I
So,
think for some persons too is like religious reasons.
so for some, but
Yeah.
that's like in the minority.
Hmm.
The majority of, I think the majority of mothers want to breastfeed. It's just if you don't have a culture or an environment that allows you to do it, then it becomes very challenging. And especially if you don't have the support, as soon as it becomes painful, you just go to what is considered easiest, which is formula.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, Allison, before we close, I have one last question for you. All right.
Yes.
If you could leave our community, these women watching tonight, with one piece of advice for prioritizing their wellness at any stage of life, what would it be?
I would say, and we are all guilty of doing it, but we really should not be trying to pour from an empty cup. It is really important to fill yourself up. I know it might feel selfish because of what we have been socialized to believe, that mothers just give to everybody else and to themselves
Mhm.
last. But if you do that, there's nothing left, and then you are empty, and then you can't give anymore, and then everyone around you suffers. And when women are well, women are healthy, communities thrive. It's known worldwide. So let's start pouring into ourselves first, and then we can give to others and build community.
Fantastic. So when you have built yourself up, give people from your overflow. And we know that when you join us on June 29th, it's going to feel like that. It's going to be an
Absolutely.
activity where you're going to be filled up, with support and community and sisterhood. Our first Women's Wellness Walk was fantastic. The
Yes.
energy of the event, women and girls of different age groups. The youngest was 4, the oldest was 64. We definitely want more women to come out at every age. So we would love to see women in their 70s, women in their 80s. I just came off these senior games, one in my age category, 45
Oh,
to 49.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you
Congrats.
so much. And there were women there in their 60s running like the 50 meters and the 100 meters. And these women are fit because they're actively
Yeah.
aging. Yes, they're maintaining exercise, they're staying strong, they're eating well. And that's what we want for ourselves. That's what we want for other women as well. Because you're getting older doesn't mean that you have to get weaker and sicker, right? Allison, thank you for your time. Thank you for the information that you've shared. Some things have definitely been an eye opener for everyone who's been on the live. Thank you for joining. I'm going to post this on our page. So once we post it, you can share it. We're looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, June 29th, 3 p.m., the Glebe St. George.